What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, RAF ESPARZA, coming to you with another great installment of the Bullpen, a joint venture between Inside BJJ and the Grappling Hour. I hope you guys are having a great day. I'm having a pretty good day. A very important day to us Dodger fans here in LA. We got to win this one. I feel a sense of nervousness amongst my fellow Angelinos here. And I just have to say this. Channel that nervousness into like one person that you can then turn into hate. For example, Ariel Helwani, noted Blue Jays fan. You are allowed to hate him right now because he is opening his mouth about the Dodgers and doing his weird, subtle shade, rage bait nonsense. So I say take that nervousness and be like, damn you, Ariel Helwani. Damn you straight to hell. Till the series is over. And then we will base it on a case-by-case basis, whether you ask the right questions or not. And we do have some notes, particularly on that interviewer. But why don't I go now to my friend, Tim Freeman, who is standing by and I'm sure has lots of thoughts. Tim, what is going on in your head?
You know, Dodgers are down. The Blue Jays are playing pretty well. I've been watching the games. You know, it's a win-win for me either way. I don't want to see the Canadians win. So if the Dodgers win, it's like, good. Fuck you, Canada. Pardon my French. But, you know, it's French-Canadian. And then if the Dodgers lose, then it's like, I hate the Dodgers anyway. So it's actually pretty delightful to watch a sporting event where you are vested in both teams losing. You don't care who wins. You just want to see one of these crews lose. So definitely going to check that out tonight. I got to say this, though, man. As much as it hurts me to say, Ohtani, this guy's from like Tecmo Baseball. He is literally a video game character. His stats, the way he hits, the fact that he pitches. How did the Dodgers work this out? Is he the first AI character that they brought out of a video game into real life? This guy's amazing, man. What a great...
Don't you dare say an ill word of that beautiful, beautiful man. Ohtani will solve all of the world's problems. I thought about this in these dark times that... We have this pure dude that after a marathon game of 18 innings, he, one, does his media obligations. So I don't want to hear this from any of you guys. It's like, going to do interviews is hard. Shut the fuck up. Ohtani showed up for his media obligations. And you know what he said? Hands folded. They're like, what do you want to do right now? What's going on in your head? He goes, I'm very tired and I would like to go home. I can accept that, but he showed up for his media obligations after essentially playing 2 games in one night. And all of you guys who do jiu-jitsu are like, I don't know if I want to do a post-media interview because I'm just so important. And what I did is so just transparent in its articulation. No, just literally plug your sponsors. Talk for 5 minutes and then go home.
Yeah. Right.
But you know what Ohtani does? He does that. They cut to him in the clubhouse a little bit later. Roberts is giving this speech. It's literally 3 minutes into the speech. And he goes, and tomorrow we got Ohtani pitching. And what's Ohtani doing? Being fucking adorable. He's over on the side. He just does this. And he's like, you guys. And he's getting all excited. I go, who are you? Where have you been sent from? Because every day we read the news, it sucks. But every day I see Ohtani, big smile on my face. And going to see that game 2 weeks ago where he hits 3 home runs and there is 6 innings of wonderful baseball by him. Just mind blown. We went there by accident. It was the best possible scenario. It was a dream day at Dodger Stadium. So I'm very glad we went to that and that we accidentally ended up going to that one. So
you're like the guy that stumbled into the playoff game. You were just walking by the stadium. They're like, hey, we got a couple tickets. You want to come on in? Yeah, just come in. You can come in.
I was prepared for any joke you were about to send me. I was like, I don't care. I am the happiest I will ever be. We made friends. There was a dude who, when Ohtani went up for his first at-bat, wasn't at a seat yet. Okay, just came from work. Second at-bat, went to go buy something. Both times, home runs. So he's sitting there, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, sir. I don't know you, but I may ask you to leave.
Yeah. Good
and
luck,
his girlfriend
Charm. Get out of here, buddy.
looks at me, and he's just like, what? I go, Ohtani's hit home runs each time you haven't been here. Baseball, very superstitious. Not into it in a lot of places, but for the good of LA, I need you to leave. And so sadly, his girlfriend's like, I think you should listen to him. Like, yeah, I think he's right. And I was like, go buy her something nice. Like, what do you want? She's like, I don't know, candy. And I was like, go buy her some candy. And he
give him some money. Here's a 20. Go get a corn dog.
I almost gave him money. I was like, here, I beg
a Dodger dog.
And then he hit a third home run as the dude was there. And I was like, you're all right, dude. I don't even care. So, yes, anyway, all these things and more. But I did want to point out one thing I did see from Timothy J. Freeman's social media, if you would. And he was just like, look at all these Dodger fans. This is penance for them staying. Yeah, dude, people stay in the stadium when it matters. So when they were there, nobody left for 18 innings. I went to a bar after Raw out here in Ontario, aka Anaheim, California. Went to Anaheim, watched Monday Night Raw, had enough time to drive for the 9th inning thinking I'm going to miss the whole thing, and then discovered, oh, I'm staying here. This is Hotel California. I am not checking out.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. And there was a moment where we asked the bartender, we're like, what time do you close? And the bartender goes, I think it's 12 a.m. And I was like, no, the answer is when this game is done.
Yeah.
Sir.
And it just wrapped at midnight because I stayed up until 2 a.m. watching that damn game. I did, man. I was hooked.
What was even going through your head? Because, again, you are in this nebulous, wonderful area of like, oh, it's so magical to hate them and to also not have my team relevant. But now I am very happy to see other people miserable. And you have to have in your head some kind of enjoyment, sick enjoyment like our bartender did, who, by the way, was a Yankees fan. So talk about not being relevant. So this dude's just smiling. And after every catch where it looked like it was almost going to hit for a home run, he just looked at us and goes, let's do another inning. And I was like, I'm going to beat the fuck out of this dude. So what was going through your head, Tim?
Pretty much the same thing. My sister's out on the West Coast. She's also a Giants fan like myself. And I was texting her, hey, you're watching the game? Yes, this is crazy. And I texted, I hope this game goes 38 innings. Like, I hope it goes till like 5:30 in the morning. I hope it goes so long. They got to call it, restart it again tomorrow. I just want the Dodger fans to have to stay for the game. And I want it to be a really, really long, drawn out, arduous game. And 18 is a lot. That's a lot of innings, man. That's 2 games. It's a doubleheader, basically.
It was a lot, dude. And I will tell you this before we get to the board. How do I put this story? My buddy was there. He got there before I did to the bar. And there was a woman who was talking his ear off. And I'm pretty good with people. So when I walked in, I immediately just go like, oh, hey, what's going on, man? And she's already trying to talk to me. And my buddy is zoned out, not listening to her at all. Like he had given her all the patience he had, which was only about 10 minutes, by the way. And so she's this know-it-all. She's saying shit. But not on our team. If you've ever had those fans, that's not who you want to be around when things are really in the muck. So she's just like, I don't know. It doesn't look like we're going to do it. And it's like, you shut the fuck up, ma'am. So
we're going to do it? Yeah.
You know, we're very in the space of like, let's go. She leaves and we're like, thank God. Don't worry, Tim. Karma brought us an even drunker lady. Only the inverse. The first one thought she knew everything. The second one couldn't be bothered to stop asking questions and just kept asking questions in a nasally voice, incredibly drunk, to the point where she's pissing off the bartender, questionably about to get kicked out. But Tim, the glorious moment that she had was she was so drunk that when she didn't see the ball game on the TVs. She's like, wait, why don't we have the ball games up? Why don't we have the ball games up? And they're like, ma'am, it went to commercial. And we had to explain what a commercial is to her. And here's the worst part, Tim. It was up the whole time. So I put a clip of that because I managed to get that on my phone magically, and I've never been happier.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It was great. All right, we have some stuff to talk about because we have been away for a minute, but it's important we go through this list of stuff. It does seem like there was a Who's Number One that did take place. I think it was last week. Congratulations are in order for Declan Moody, who was able to win the whole thing and did a Stone Cold double White Claw little drink thing. And I have to tell you, I'm severely concerned about his inside organs. Doing one White Claw, not the best for you. Doing two, and unlike Stone Cold, where you're just kind of letting some of it foam out, I think he was drinking a lot of it. So, Tim, tell us a little bit about what we need to know about Who's Number 130, sir.
So, Who's Number 130 went down at Sunny Days Arena in beautiful Pittsburgh. This was an interesting matchup. It was an 8-man open weight bracket. There were quite a few big names in there. We know Declan Moody was in there, Achilles Rocha, Dante Leon, Roberto Jimenez, Ryan Aiken. And watching this, I kind of felt like Aiken would be the favorite just going into it because he's a very difficult competitor to beat in a match like that. And he made it past. I think he let's see, who did he, I can't remember who he fought in the first round, but he made it past the first round. He got taken out in the second round on points. Pretty good matchups all around. We had the Pat Chigoli, the leg lock extraordinaire child, the child. I want to call him child predator, but that doesn't ring right. But he's a predator and he's a child. So I don't know how to put it out in a way that makes sense, but he got rear naked choked by Dante Leon, which that's nothing to feel bad about. Leon is an outstanding competitor. Aiken went up against Signs the first round, and he did pretty well. And in the second round, he lost on points to Moody. That's what it was, a decision. Another interesting thing happened. They had some super fights. Sarah Galval continues to wreck the ladies division, racking up wins. She got an armbar submission against Trinity Pune. Gavin Corbet beat Owen Jones, and Devontae Johnson beat Gutenberg Pereira via decision. So overall, I think it was a pretty good card, and they just announced a couple of good matchups here. We're going to see Diego Pato against DeAndre Corbet at Who's Number 131 for the lightweight title. And then we got Felipe Pena and the big man, Luke Griffith, for the heavyweight title coming up at Who's Number 131. So some pretty cool stuff going on there. I do like that format. I do like the promotion. I think they have something that is compelling. I just like to see it maybe juiced up a little bit.
Thank you for that, Tim.
Not that kind of juice.
No,
they're already juiced up.
Well, you didn't name names, but
do I need to?
Maybe we should just start doing that. That's it. Actually the reverse. You have to prove to us now that you're not on steroids. That will likely save us some time, actually, the more I think of it that way. Let me point this out, guys. Who's number one? This whole Pena, Luke Griffith thing for a title, right?
Mm-hmm. Heavyweight.
Do we need to do it? Like, don't we know how it's gonna go? Like, we've seen it now because it happened before, and it also happened at the Craig Jones Invitational, and Pena ended up getting an armbar. So we're trying to give away now because Gordon, who knows? They're saying like, well, now we have to do a match because we need to fill that vacant belt. So,
yeah.
Like, what are we doing here? Are we just ascribing something? Like, it does show that maybe we don't have somebody for Felipe Pena. We don't have somebody to fill in the Gordon heavyweight title sort of element. So it just seems kind of confusing. And honestly, if you swept it under the rug, I probably wouldn't have even noticed. But instead, we brought more attention to, like, we don't have a ton of options here, bud. At this point, the virus inside of Gordon's tummy is ranked 14 on its own.
Yeah.
So I felt bad about that, but I don't know, man. Like, what do we care, Tim? Are we excited about that? Diego Pato and Corbe. It's fun. Like,
I'm excited about that.
But this other one that has a higher seat on the card.
I want to see a pro wrestling move. They should go to another region, pull a star out of the other territory, bring them in, run them out, build them up. You know, they got to build a guy up. They need to throw a guy out there, give him some scrubs, let him break a neck or two, let him put a couple guys in the hospital, throw someone through a chair, like really hype it up, and then run him out there and let him get whooped on by Pena. That's something that I would watch. I would get behind that.
I actually think they were hoping that Pat Chagole was going to be that guy. I think they were hoping they could send him in, literally break all the ACLs that they could.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I am intrigued. Consider me interested. I just need a little bit more convincing on that side why I need to be invested. But I'm just one guy. Maybe I don't share the same feelings as some of you guys. And it'd be kind of cool if Luke could get one back. But Pena is very good. And I think that's gotten kind of swept under him versus Gordon era where it's like,
yeah,
still a completely amazing athlete. And Luke Griffith,
yeah,
very good at what he does. Normally pretty dominant when he is competing. But when you go to that level, it is difficult. So I am nervous about this. Tim, this one is near and dear to my heart. This one hurts. While we've been gone, we did see some footage in a black belt division for one unfortunate competitor scoring 0 points while his opponent ran up the score on him to 106 points. Tim, what do we need to know about this story? And what are your initial thoughts when you did see the footage and heard the news?
Couple things. One is the competitor was Canadian, go figure, running up the score, just like the Blue Jays are doing to the Dodgers. I'm sorry, Raph, I had to get that in there. This is a Canadian black belt competitor, Ethan Major. The article doesn't really say what tournament it was. It just says it was IBJJF / smooth comp style rules. Now, he won 106-0. I watched the match. He did a bunch of cool stuff. Pretty much just was way better than these guys. This is like Michael. Well, I'm not going to say he's Michael Jordan, but this is like a professional player, say a Major League Baseball player, going down and playing high school ball and just dominating, you know, hitting 6 home runs, pitching 9 perfect innings. This is what this appeared to be. And the crazy thing is the next match, he scored 113 points. Now, if I'm the dude getting scored on, I am looking for can openers, cervical spine cranks. I'm going to reap. I'm going to look for heel hooks, all illegal techniques. I would eye gouge and go down with the DQ before I would let somebody rack up 106 points on me. There's no way in hell. Now, maybe they were doing like 10-base scoring where you get like whatever that number is times 10, or maybe this match was 147 minutes long. It didn't appear that long. It just seems like a lot. And it kind of got me thinking, man, like in wrestling, if you go down by, I think it's 8 points in folk style, you're teched. That's it. You lost the match. That's a technical win and you're done. Shouldn't we have like the Redeemer figure or something from Brazil. They just kind of throw it out on the mat or it floats out there and it's like, mercy rule, you're done. Like, we're going to save you. You can't go out there and give up 106 points. That's just crazy. That tells me that Ethan Major is inefficient. He should have been able to tap him way sooner than that. So, not a super fan of it. And if he could have tapped him and he didn't, then he was just straight up showboating. For what? You're fighting a brown belt, dude. What's the point?
All right, here's why I feel a certain way about this. I have lost in points by over 20 points, and that shit sucks because you're sitting there being like, how do I win this? So I've been there, but not there. So I want to make it very clear. I've never lost by 100 points. That definitely, it'll make you rethink your involvement in this sport. Having said that, why are we counting points past 50? Like, what purpose do these points have? Tim, how long was the match?
It looked like it was like a 7 or 8 minute match. It wasn't super long.
Okay. I put some blame on the ref. Here's why. This is when you got to pull a pro wrestling ref and go over and start talking to your guys. The referees are producers in that world where they'll tell the guys like, hey, time to go home. So you need to go and nudge the same way you say, hey, that's stalling. You got to go up to that guy and be like, hey, man, I need to see a submission because what's the point? What is the point of all of this? You are doing amazing work. You've won. Can I just call it right now? Tim mentioned a tech fall, a mercy rule. In my head, I'm just thinking like, hey, man, there are other people who paid to do this. And this tournament, I'm just going to make a guess, probably running late. Time is money. Let's go. The sad part is, if you're the dude who didn't get a point, and again, I've had rough matches. I am sympathetic to this. I want to say in a couple of those matches, I at least found some points. And I'll be honest, I found people who got points by accident because they were fucking up trying to get other points. I was like, well, I'm going to get the half guard here. So even there, sometimes you can do something, but this hurt the soul to see, Tim. But I feel like this dude who runs up 106, amazing. Congratulations. Maybe no tournaments for a year for you. That's the rule. That's what I'm going to put down. Because, oh no, Stacks Bundles. You were not there. Were you watching this? Hold on. Game changer in the audience. Stacks. What was the mood? What was the whole vibe of the tournament? How much were you guys talking about it? Because if I was there and I saw it live, there would have been 12 updates from me. Guaranteed.
If that was my student, I would have done a run-in. 100%. I would have thrown a dirty sock onto the mat to kill the match.
You're being a good instructor. You're distracting the ref at this point, being like, hey, come on over here. Ref, what's this? And they're like, what? And then they low blow and then they win. That's it. I just feel like 106 is the worst. And it says, so it's a mixed division. We got that part. It was a brown belt and a black belt. We got that. But what I'm looking for here, Stacks, thoughts, feelings,
brown and black,
interpretations. Lots of people upset. I would imagine so. Could you imagine it just like was another day at the office and nobody cared? They're just like, well, looks bad. All right, let's go to the next one.
They're like, you sorry.
So, Stacks, I'm giving you one last chance here to tell me some detail as a first person observer here that we can report to the people, because it's not often that we have a witness, a viewer, a spectator. You know him? You didn't lead with that? Okay. Wow. What do we need to wait? Did you talk to this guy? My words are jumbled because you didn't lead with, I know him. What did he have to say afterwards? And if you're just making this up, I don't hate it because it is making me more active, and that's fine, and it is good television. But not sure of his motive. He's a really good kid. I'm so glad this turned into like a Dateline episode. I'm not sure of his motive. The motive was to win, dude. I don't know what else is to say.
He did it 2 matches in a row. Is that right? I read that he scored 116 in a follow-up match. This wasn't an accident. What if this is this guy's thing now? And is he fighting at the right level if he's scoring 100 points on people? I don't think so. That's me in my kids' class.
I am not. I didn't ask him after. All right. Well, you have an assignment. Next time you come and be a commentator in our comment section, you got to give us some news. You got to talk to him by then.
Yeah.
Okay? That's what we're asking. By next time. I competed in the tournament the next day. Well, did you lose by that many points? Or did you win? Because if you won, we're very happy for you.
Dude, if you lost, you got to get out of here, dude.
Actually, no, it hit me, Tim. What if the person was watching our show that it happened to? Not prepared for that. All right, we're going to move on, my friend. Why don't we go to this next topic, which is Mean Girls. This is a multi-tiered one. It does appear in vogue right now to be a little gossipy. So we got some people who are choosing a certain way that they're making the rounds on press row. And this isn't just confined to one person. This involves multiple people who have been going out on the rounds and saying some kind of catty things. So, Tim, what are the ones that jumped out to you?
Up here, and I decided, listen, I'm not giving Mikey Pastahead the top spot on the board. I'm not giving Moneyberg his own spot. From now on, for the time being, these guys are on restriction. They're out of control. So anything from Mikey, anything from Moneyberg, anything from DeBlas, it's going to the Mean Girls section. They get one section called Mean Girls, and all their shit goes in there. Essentially, Moneyberg is now miffed at Musumeci, and he has come out and said, "You betrayed our friendship," which I just find hilarious. I can't trust you. Because Musumeci started, I think, look, Musumeci doesn't like people to dislike him. That's what I really think. And I think he loves attention. He's got a taste of it and he really likes it. So he felt like he needed to come out, say something about Moneyberg, make sure everyone knows he's legit, that Musumeci's legit, not Moneyberg per se. And he said, nah, there's no way he could get his black belt that fast. There's no way he could do XYZ. And I guess that surprised Moneyberg. He couldn't believe it. So Moneyberg was upset. Moneyberg shared a text between himself and Jake Shields where he's asking Shields to set up a match for him. He says, please set it up. I'm literally being canceled. You're literally using the word literally wrong, but that's okay, Derek. You can afford a dictionary or a subscription to Grammarly with all that cash you make. So that was one thing that popped out. I kind of found it humorous that now the club is like turning on itself. And then Moneyberg went on, which I'm shocked because out of everybody in combat, the one guy I would not pop off to is Sean Strickland. I just think he has a screw loose. I wouldn't pop off to him. There's multiple occasions of this dude taking people on that talk shit. And Moneyberg is saying Strickland won't submit me in under 5 minutes. He said, I was training in the gym in Vegas for 10 and a half hours and he never came in. And then DeBlas jumped in because, hey, why not chase an ambulance when you see one? And he said, he's like a Pavlovian response. Focus on your own jiu-jitsu, guys. This was like Buddha DeBlas, fortune cookie DeBlas. these people are gossiping about other people too much. They need to focus on their own jiu-jitsu. It's like, well, what are you focusing on, big dog? And then Musumeci follows up with saying, I'm looking at a 7-figure-a-year contract from the UFC. So I don't know if that's bullshit or not, but this is what Musumeci's proclaiming. And then in the end, the thing that I thought was probably the worst was Ronda Rousey talking with Bert Kreischer in an interview. Just in that in of itself was pretty bad. And then it got followed up where Kreischer's talking about Rogan and Rousey goes, Rogan's not a fighter. And then Kreischer says, well, he did some, he did some tournaments, Taekwondo tournaments. And then she laughs and goes, that's not fighting. He's never fought. He's just a personality that has a bunch of fans. And I was like, damn, that's salty. Joe Rogan literally cried when Ronda Rousey won the belt and said it was the greatest thing he'd ever seen. He was all up in his feels over that. And Rousey went Rousey on him. The gossip train keeps it a little bit exciting. Otherwise, it probably would be too boring, but I'd really like to see another name besides Moneyberg or Musumeci in the mix here. So I'm lumping them in. From now on, they are the Mean Girls, Raf.
I can get behind that. Thank you for coining a new segment here, and a good way to kind of summarize all this. I have some thoughts. Okay, let's start off with the Moneyberg versus Mikey. I think where I fall here is as follows. Moneyberg is trying to gain steam by saying to, like, say, other people, guess what? Mikey Musumeci, he's not legit. You can't trust that guy. He's not a real friend. He came over and I gave him money to give me a private, and now he's turned against me. No loyalty there. Brother, if you give me a private, I'm loyal to you as long as the session goes. That's how privates work. Privates do not mean in perpetuity. Now, how much are you paying for this private? That's a great question. And it seems like a lot because you really have a lot of these guys come in to defend you when really we don't need to. So I get that. And then from Mikey's perspective, you get this feeling like Mikey got taken to task, as you should. Anybody who's getting paid by Moneyberg and vouching for his good jiu-jitsu should 100% have to field questions. But everybody just goes like, no, he's so good. He's so good. And I think somewhere in the brain of Mikey Musumeci, a conscience developed, or the check stopped coming, or he just had to answer so many questions about Moneyberg that it really seeped in. And it's like, I mean, honestly, maybe he's not that good. And he had to be honest and was trying to tell you, yeah, you guys might be right. He's not that good, because he initially defended him, but it's all over the place. Here's what I want to tell you, the thing that kind of struck out to me. Moneyberg made an appearance on Ariel Helwani. I'm still trying not to watch it because I don't want to encourage these clips to happen. But I, of course, like the rest of you, do catch clips. And one of the clips I saw was Ariel Helwani taking Moneyberg to task and saying, hey, you know what? You're not a real black belt. He's like, well, what do you mean? He's like, I've never seen you compete. So how do we know that's a real black belt? And honestly, it was kind of refreshing to see somebody talk to him like that, except for one thing. It was Ariel Helwani, who does not train. And you don't necessarily have to be somebody who competes to be a black belt. We encourage it. We say it is helpful. And yes, that's pretty cool. But when Ariel's sitting there trying to be tough guy on Moneyberg, I just thought, I don't want to watch this. I'm happy somebody is taking him to task. Yes, it's nice that he's being pressed. And yes, Ariel is taking the side of the internet that is very much like, hey, dude, you're not a part of this culture. You can pay for the culture, but that doesn't mean you're part of it. That part I understand, and I'm with him on. But when Ariel's like, nobody believes you. You're not a real fighter. You're not a real jiu-jitsu. You're not a real black belt. It's like, well, hey, I'm torn because I wish other black belts would say this to him that are on his payroll, but they won't say dick, even though many of them are very good at MMA and jiu-jitsu and bank on that credibility. And just this week in the new Mean Girls category, Mark Zuckerberg, who Joe Rogan said was one of the best in the world, has to be a certified savage, was shown rolling with Alex Pereira in the world's slowest pace anybody has ever seen. So yes, we can be happy for people and we can be happy that they're training and we want them to understand the culture and be a part of it. And we should be welcoming, but we don't have to go out of our way to call them savages. Or, as seen in previous episodes, just find another fucking word, which is difficult for the Joe Rogan set. We'll come back to you in a second. But yes, I was torn when I saw Moneyberg versus Mikey Musumeci, because really, these are two people that I don't need to reference one another. I am good at them existing and being in different fields, but this is literally the dumbest possible conversation. And unfortunately, it gathers the most news. So I'm begging you guys, please stop looking at these videos of him. Please stop watching. It is the least you can do. It's literally the only thing I ask. Because anytime somebody sends me a Moneyberg clip, I'm like, I'm not watching this. No, I don't want to watch it. And him on Ariel just seemed like, what is he there to promote? There's not an event.
Why is he even there?
Yeah, like, why are you here? And then I think to myself, oh, to promote your legitimacy. Or, for Ariel's perspective, your news making, so we should talk to you. And then if you talk about this is the one thing I don't get, is that litigating these people who are just saying you might not be good at jiu-jitsu, you mean to tell me I can sue every person who thinks I suck at jiu-jitsu? Maybe that's how I make my money. I'm like him. Yeah, now that we're thinking about that, that actually could be a very profitable thing for me. Larger point is this, though. Go ahead, Tim.
No. Go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you, buddy.
You're good. You're good. The larger thing I want to take away, though, is, okay, Moneyberg says he's going to sue all these people. Whatever. And I feel like some people have been silenced into not speaking out because, oh no, lawsuits. What are they saying that's inaccurate? And it's weird because it's trying and then, oh, if you even talk back to me, well, then I'm going to sue you. But let's go to the real claim here that Moneyberg makes. It's not that he can beat any of these guys. It's that they can't submit them in 5 minutes. And you know what? Maybe if we're talking lawsuits, that's this guy's racket, because that is my superpower. And we have a segment called the Grappling Hour Challenge, where people get 2 minutes to submit me with a thing, and we make fun of it because it's not necessarily the thing you brag about. You don't go around telling people like, bet you couldn't submit me. What's that? Can I submit you? No, I can't. No. That's the gimmick. That's why we do it like that, because we're having fun with the segment. So when you're telling us like, oh, Sean Strickland couldn't submit me, Mikey Musumeci couldn't submit me, I don't see you submitting them. So therefore, we're just arguing the dumbest, weirdest aspect of jiu-jitsu, which is supposed to be about submitting other people. And as somebody whose main superpower is not getting submitted, yeah, I think it's kind of a fun gag, but it doesn't make you tough. It doesn't make you legit or not legit. It just is, hey, it is a weird party trick that you don't need to bank off of and make yourself seem like you're all that better than everybody else. Because in actuality, it is maybe the one thing that could make you super relatable is if you just admit, hey, I suck at jiu-jitsu. And I think if you started telling people you suck at jiu-jitsu, just like the rest of us, then I think you might have more people like you. But I don't think that's the point, because likability is not always profitable. Anyway, Tim, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, Reed, if we could get some funding, we could take up the lawsuit and we could have an opportunity in a court of law to get a ruling that Derek Moneyberg does indeed suck. He could lose the case, and then we could legally say, yo, dude, Judge Wapner said, you suck, dog. Listen,
Oh, shit.
you and I both know.
This is a bullpen court.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
Fuck. It's a good thing we have a place where you can take that and
That's
hear
right.
a real good judge on that one. Anyway, go as you were saying, too.
Look, one thing you and I know about anyone who's been in jiu-jitsu for a minute knows, and I'm going to maybe ruffle some feathers here, don't care. The general pop student base that goes to class, morning, afternoon, night classes, whatever, doesn't hold a very high level of respect for private lesson student that never trains with everybody else. They never see them. They only see the pics when they get promoted, and they're all like, who the fuck is this guy? What is this guy doing? And that's what he has. And to say that, oh, I saw how BJ Penn did it. Apparently he took a bunch of private. No, BJ Penn did not take a bunch of private lessons. BJ Penn was a goddamn savant. He trained his ass off. He trained all over Northern California, went back to Hawaii, was already a savage, trained with Keenan Cornelius' dad. BJ put work in. He went down to Brazil and won the Mundials. To even use him as a comparison for your lame ass origin story is stupid. It's just stupid, man. But I do like the fact that he told Henry Cejudo that he likes to keep his body fat percentage between 7 and 12%. Cejudo just gave a look like, oh my God, okay. Now that I will take you to court on. You are not 7% body fat.
All right, let's go back to Joe Rogan here while we got a second. Okay, so Ronda Rousey goes on, makes a claim that MMA fans don't treat their legends well. That's true. I do believe that. Here's where things get murky. People have feelings about Ronda Rousey. They have. They always have. Undeniable that she got women into the sport. Dana was very clear that wasn't going to happen. She has a place here. Now, what kind of place depends on who you ask. Because when she was fighting, a lot of the current consensus is she didn't have the roster that they currently have. So she just basically beat up some tomato cans when she was coming up. Do you say the same about Chuck Liddell? Do you say the same about Ken Shamrock? About Hoist Gracie? Not really. But, okay, so we can see that the audience sometimes has it out for you. And if anything, usually when you're a person putting the foundation there, yeah, there's going to be some people that maybe aren't the greatest of all time, but you can't deny the fact that she was first and a groundbreaking fighter for the organization. All right, that much is what we can say. Granted, was she very good at rage baiting people into buying her pay-per-views? Absolutely. Did she talk trash? Yes. Did she walk away in a very bad way from the sport? Yes. Because when she walked away and got beat, it wasn't like, damn, I got beat. She was so much better than me. Ronda went into a very protective shell and almost didn't take it on in an emotionally good way. And that was very transparent to the fans when it was just like, hey, you don't have to fight forever. But when she was just like, oh, I mean, if I just correct some things, I'll be the best fighter of all time and I can come back and I can do this. It's kind of like a weird, it almost sounds delusional to fans, and it's hard to reconcile those two things. Going after Joe Rogan, you're right. Joe was a big fan of hers. Famously would say he thought maybe she could, or at least brought up the idea. I don't know what his true feelings were. That she might be decent enough to fight a Floyd Mayweather or entertain that conversation on his show. I mean, that's silly. But at the time, fun to entertain because we're bored as fuck and we didn't have as much shit to talk about.
Yeah.
The hard part with Joe is this. Joe is, in the same way that Ronda is a pioneer, he is a pioneer in MMA. So he is almost a victim of his own success in the way that she is. So you can't bypass that. But now that she's going against him, I don't think it's him. I think it's the fans. I think the Joe Rogan fans are more the issue because they're the ones that have entertained conversations on the show where it's like, yeah, she's a joke now. And I think that fan base is more of who she has problems with Because I think Joe would be the first to say, yeah, she fucking was a pioneer. She made it happen. I think I give him that much credit. Now, calling him out because he didn't have actual fights and Taekwondo fighting, it's kind of silly. We should get it to be like, oh, John Addix never fought. Fuck that guy. Like,
Yeah.
I think
Neither is
that's
Greg Jackson.
the part that she does lose me on. But it's all in the Ronda, like, she's evoking something out of you, and sometimes it makes you mad. It's in the same region. So I think her in the Mean Girl segment does check out. But my initial thought when she was like, oh, the MMA fan base has never treated me well, I was like, yeah, I can see that. That makes sense. But I don't know that she's ever tried to be beloved in that way. And I think she might have also rubbed some people wrong in the WWE as well. So that base carried over, and her creative control that she had for it and all that sort of stuff. I don't know that she did herself a ton of favors in that aspect, but for what she is, I have respect for her. I just feel like it's sometimes hard to watch people go, why do you guys hate me? And it's like, have you ever tried not to be hated?
Yeah.
Am I confused here?
Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
Just a little prickly.
She is. Tim, I think it's time to move on to our next segment, a happier segment. One that we are very, very proud to announce. Does look like season 9 is already getting underway for the PGF. Tim, we have some dates now. I mean, this is happening very fast. So can you please fill the people in on where they can potentially go and try to compete to get on the next season of the PGF? And what weight class are we talking this time, Tim?
Talking 175 is the weight class. And we have a series of qualifiers, and then the draft dates were announced. Now, here's the really interesting thing here. The qualifiers are not just generic PGF qualifiers, but there are also some, I think you would call them tryouts, more or less. The Alabama Twisters have a qualifier on Sunday, November 22nd, down in Auburn, Alabama, if you're out that way. And then we also have a open, just a normal PGF qualifier that's going to be up in Gatlinburg out in Tennessee. I may or may not go to that, depending on weather. And then we have a PGF open, which apparently is going to be like a tournament, I'm thinking, and a qualifier in Pasadena on December 13th. That's out at 10th Planet Pasadena. And then we have a couple of team tryouts. Again, the Las Vegas Kings season 9 qualifier. It's going to be in Dallas, Texas. And then the Philadelphia Phenoms are going to be running a qualifier on January 17th. And then again, the Vegas Kings are going to hold 2 of them, another one on the 24th. And then, so that kind of wraps up the qualifier. So there's a lot of opportunity there. Like if you're an athlete and you're trying to get on to one of these cards, you got to show up to these qualifiers. You don't have to win. You just have to bring it. If you fight hard, you have a good personality, you have something to say, you control your story and you get that out, you have a strong chance of making a team or getting invited as an alternate. The other 2 important dates are draft day was announced. So the season 9 draft is going to be February 4th in Las Vegas, with the opening day following on March 4th in Las Vegas. So yeah, man, it's underway, dude. It's right around the corner. So here we go, baby. It's time to ramp up. I got to get a thicker gold chain this time. And maybe like, I'm thinking, I don't know if I'm going to change the hat. I kind of like the hat, but maybe I'll wear a cape, bring a cane, like a walking cane. I got to do something, man. I need another affectation. You know, I gotta show up in a very strong way, but I'm really looking forward to it. 75 is going to be very exciting. That's a tough division. You got guys that can, you got some guys that are really fast and really strong. So that'll be a good bracket to watch.
Tim's gonna show up this next time with the scarf. Just what's
an
new?
ascot?
What scarf? Oh no, I've been wearing this for a long time. You guys just aren't very fashion forward, I guess. I have to tell you, Tim, even wearing a hat for an episode is always like an adjustment for me, because I'm like, how do I like wearing this? Do I go low? like a
Right,
true,
right.
like, I feel if you don't see my eyebrows, that I truly do fit in with like
Yeah.
90% of the audience that you would see at Dodger Stadium. Like brown
Yes.
guy, blue hat. And see, look, it can't even focus in on my face. It doesn't know where my face begins. See a little bit of eyebrow, but do I cork it up? It's very confusing to me. So I don't know how you do it all the time.
Yeah.
God bless.
My hat, it jumps around. It jumps around depending on the mood.
You saying this literally has already brought a triggered response by me, but like, February? We're already back?
I know. I caught that. I caught that in your demeanor when I said February. There was like this very low sonar that I picked up on, and it was like a RAF grumble.
I've barely recovered from the last season. So
Yeah.
I guess if that's the case, that means we're probably looking at about March, April after that draft that we're really starting off this shindig. So, hey, listen, Tim brought up a good point to you goons. If you ever bitch about not being considered, you have to show up. You can't sit there and wait on an invite. That's not how these things work. Think of it like ADCC. You have some major names in less than 2 weeks that are going to show up in where? New Jersey? Where is it? Is it Florida, New Jersey? Where are trials this year, Tim?
Oh, boy. ADCC trials?
What other trials are we talking about here? ADCC, let's look it up. Let's figure this out.
Could be the Moneyberg trials. I don't know.
By the way, if he just wanted to host his own thing, he has the money. He could host his own, unless he's the anonymous donor, but he could host his own jiu-jitsu tournament and people would love him.
Where's it? It's in Florida. Orlando, Florida.
Okay. Yeah. So in 2 weeks, people will actually go to Florida. Nobody wants to go to Florida, but they will go to Florida for these trials. And guess what's going to happen? They don't assume they're in the big dance. You have to do the same thing with the PGF now, because don't be surprised if some of the people who win those trials also somehow manage to get invites to be on the big show. And it's worth noting that they're doing this earlier in the year because they know a lot of people are likely going to be on their track to going to ADCC. And that doesn't even include the fact that, yes, next year there's going to be a Craig Jones Invitational as well. So there are big opportunities for our athletes. This is one of them. Do not bypass this because those slots are going to become sacred. And even if you don't get a slot, as we've seen, especially this year, alternates can get on and they can be in consideration, not only to win with the team, but the whole thing itself in the playoffs. So all of that stems from you showing up. Don't ask me how you get on. Don't ask me to put you up for the consideration. Literally go and do that, because I cannot tell you, Tim, how many times people go, hey, why don't you consider me for this? And I was like, show up. Yeah, but why don't you just consider me for this? Show up. That's it. So we have that. Let's press on with our next topic, which is that of a freestyle topic. Does look like the RAF, the Royal American Freestyle Association, did put up a banger of a match that does involve, I mean, it's impressive because Michael Chandler has been unemployed for a minute. Granted, he's still employed by the UFC, but like, what has he been doing? You know what I'm saying? So Chandler's involved. He's got a hell of a match. I really do like that they have paired him up with somebody who also can do something incredibly entertaining. And I'm very excited to see this take place with Chad Mendes. So what can you tell us about the upcoming RAF organization here?
RAF. Well, you know, Hulk Hogan was a part of it. R.E. Hulkster. Now I guess it's just Eric Bischoff. Bischoff has been, you know, of course, from the WCW pro wrestling promoter. He pulled in Chael Sonnen. He said, Chael is going to be our Joe Rogan, which I always think it's funny when people do that. Oh, he's our Joe Rogan. But Real American Freestyle, they just had an event at Bryce Jordan Center in Pennsylvania, October 25th. And they some names you might recognize. Pat Downey was on the card, Olympic gold medalist Helen Morales, and then also Kyle Dake, who I believe is also an Olympian medalist. I don't know if he won the gold though. So freestyle wrestling, a little different than folk style in that, you get more points for the big slams. You can accumulate points for turning somebody. So you'll see guys do a leg ride, or in jiu-jitsu, we call it a truck or a truck variation, and they will roll up, dude, 8 or 9 times in a row. You rack up 9 points, you get 10 points, you win. You get points for pushing people out of bounds. So it's a more exciting style to watch than, say, high school wrestling, which is folk style. It's a little different. And they have a good product. They're on Fox. When I watched it, it has the right blend of pro wrestling vibe and feel that we're kind of missing in the jiu-jitsu world. And I fired some texts off to some of my guys that I know that are in this business, and I'm like, this is good. Like, there's some things in here y'all should be looking at. So they did a nice job. Holly Holm was on one of the recent cards. So they're getting some big names in here, which I'm interested in seeing. But I definitely want to see Michael Chandler and Chad Mendes. These are two guys that have wrestling backgrounds. They came into MMA kind of known as wrestlers. They have great wrestling chops. They have a lot in the tank yet. But look, here's the reality. You can only get hit in the head so many times before your head's just like a fucking aluminum garbage can with a bunch of dents in it. It just doesn't work. You can't keep doing that, but you can always wrestle. So I'm excited to see these guys. Any kind of grappling that gets put on a high level where a lot of people can watch it, I feel like is good for jiu-jitsu. And I'm saying, look, if freestyle wrestling can get on Fox, there is absolutely zero reason why submission grappling can't be there as well. It's just not being looked at or perceived in the right way, or perhaps presented in the right way. But it does give me hope. This event is coming up in November. I don't know if I have the exact date. I don't think. Oh yeah, November 29th. Real American Freestyle. So check it out. I think it's dope, man. I'm going to definitely watch the next card, see what it's all about. So I'm excited to see it. And, I think Chandler Mendes is going to be a good name draw that can get some people to tune in and watch.
Speak of the devil, Tim, that little promo that you put up a little bit earlier, none other than Chad Mendes himself liked it. So kudos on that.
I tagged everybody. I'm like, you know what? I couldn't tag Moneyberg because, I'm too important to be tagged. I don't want my feelings to get hurt. Get out of here.
All he's doing is saving you a lawsuit, Tim. So thank him, please. Here's what I want to say. There's been talk of Michael Chandler doing WWE. That's not the wrestling I want him to do. I am not interested. I saw him once give a very passionate, very loud promo at a Monday Night Raw. No, thank you, sir. However, Real American Freestyle, welcome home. That's great. You did mention this, though, Tim. You did say, what is keeping us from getting those deals? Well, one, wrestling has had a very prominent spot, even if it's not always like marketed as this giant sport. It has history. So that history makes it a little bit easier to understand, especially when you get those huge ratings that they've been increasing year by year. And I want to say in 2023, they were having marquee, huge ratings bonanzas. So that's part one. Part two, Eric Bischoff was very, very effective when he was in the wrestling wars in the 90s. And a lot of the live programming in pro wrestling does come with him, because you did see at that time, he was saying we should do this as a live format for TNT and TBS. And Vince wasn't as concerned with that with Raw at the time. He was like, let's just tape it and put it up later. So that was that. And I do love this. Egg. Damn it, I missed the PGF 9 segment live. Egg. I got news for you. We're going to do so many segments for PGF. There's not going to be a shortage of PGF segments here. how come you weren't mad about missing the Moneyberg segment? How come you're not mad about missing the Mean Girl segment? The Mean Girl segment, probably the part of the show, hasn't finished yet. We'll get to a fight of the week here in a second. But don't be glad that you missed it. Be happy that you are here now. Let's talk about this. I am very pleased that they are having some success. I don't want to buy it on Fox, though, so you guys can tell me how it is. But Eric Bischoff does have that going for him. He does know how to put together a television product. And, you know, having him is, I think, a big help in that force, even if he is... Some of his creative ideas are not as strong as they always were. But I think that is part of the reason why they focused more on narratives and presentation. And I think if you have those two things, doesn't matter. So it says, if I already knew more about PGF, TGSNU.
I think he means if only I already knew more about PGF9 than you. Oh, he's scooping. He's saying like, I got scoop. You got scoop. You got hand, egg. You have hand, like George Costanza in a relationship. You got hand, man. Good job.
See, but like egg is inviting what is broken apart people in the past. You want to be like, dude, we probably all get this information about the same time. I just always assume we're the last to know. And that's okay because we're the loudest. We will be the most annoying about it. Now, I got the than you, but the TGSNU, I was like, is he picking this up from the children? Is this another 6-7 that I don't know about?
Driving and texting. Be careful, egg.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, it was like somebody just implicated themselves right now. Now that we've said these things, I wish them luck. I would like to surpass them as jiu-jitsu, but we have not presented that. I still think CJI is the premier format that could beat them. UFC BJJ. It's slick. It is well done. It's a good presentation. The matches aren't there yet. So we're working on it. But they have some great marquee names that they're bringing in. And I think that's what we should do for these retired and maybe uncertain of what they're going to do former wrestlers who became fighters who probably can give you more bang for your buck in the world of fighting. In the world of wrestling. So there is that. Let's go to this. This is a segment where we want to give some shine to some folks. There's been a lot of news. We've been gone for 2 weeks. We have some friends who did some incredible things. Tim, I'm going to turn it over to you. Who deserves some shine this week?
Well, you know, right out of the gate, Mackenzie Dern wins the strawweight UFC title. UFC 321 had a fantastic victory, looked good. You know, she beat Verna Jandroba, and it was a tough match. She got taken down like 9 times. I think it was 9 times. Her takedown defense was not necessarily on par, but she's got a great guard. She's fought off her back well. She got up to her feet well. Her hands looked good. Some people didn't think she won the match. I thought she won the match. So pretty cool to see her kind of reach that level. We know this is somebody from the jiu-jitsu world who's worked pretty hard, has been competing. I'd have to say her whole life probably, and has now reached what is in essence in fighting. It's kind of the highest pinnacle of the sport. So hats off to her. And following that up, one of our good friends, Hanato Canuto, showed off. He debuted the bleach blonde hair. When I was watching the clip on his Instagram, I just kept thinking that's not Hanato Canuto because it just showed the back of his head and it was blonde. It looked like, you know, like Mike Weaver from like 2007 or something. It just, or Mike Fowler. I mean, you know, like one of those dudes, like the bleach blonde hair. But sure enough, it was Hanato Canuto. He got a nice victory over Caleb Contreras at Tough Enough. 149. That's how many Tough Enoughs they've had now. That is freaking insane to me. But hats off to him. And then we got some news that the Rio kid, Crone Gracie, has booked another MMA fight at Victory Fight League 3 against Tom Picciano. I'm always interested in watching Gracie's fight. I don't know if it's because of, you know, starting old school jiu-jitsu and kind of having the Gracie legend and mythology kind of planted in your head. But I really enjoy watching them fight. Whether they win or lose, I just like to see how they're going to approach it. Crone is a guy who was tremendously talented in the jiu-jitsu world, and I'd still like to see him fight. He's a young guy. Be interesting to see what he can bring to the table. And then a guy who's very active right now, Ty Rotolo, has booked his second MMA fight against Shoujo, and that's announced for 173. So hats off to him, man. The Rotolo brothers are doing great. Some of these young guys are really doing well now, it seems. Tackett's, of course, Musamichi. They seem to be able to kind of benefit on the work and the mistakes and just the building of the infrastructure of the dudes that kind of came one generation before them. So it is good to see that guys are starting to get paid.
Agreed.
Just want to throw some love out there, man.
Well, that's very nice of you. And Mackenzie Dern, former guest of mine, I'm assuming yours as well.
I never had her on, but I think
really?
Stella, when Stella was doing like a Girls on Grappling segment, she interviewed her for that, I think.
Copy that. I mean, super nice to me. It's always funny when we've seen her ups and her downs. My initial reaction when she won was, hey, that's kind of cool. Like, it's one thing to, she just experienced a big loss recently, but to bounce back from that and to be able to become a champion, we should be happy about that. And I think they were saying like it was her. Oh, I think it's Verdum are the only ones to have multiple championships in like gi, no gi, and in the world of the UFC. And I thought,
oh, that's cool.
That's a pretty interesting statistic to have where you are so recognized in the world of jiu-jitsu and you are able to replicate that success in the world of the UFC. It's rare, and I think it's commendable. So congratulations to Mackenzie. And man, not to be outdone, Canuto looked amazing. Soccer kicks.
Yeah.
Who knew? This dude was letting out some demons at the end of that fight. I was legit scared for everybody in attendance. I haven't hit him up for an interview because now I'm afraid of him soccer kicking me.
Yeah. He might. Well, Raquel will if he won't. So
that was never in question. I don't think anybody here has ever questioned if Raquel's got a soccer kick in her. I think the real question was, or the real surprise was looking at Hanato and going, oh, right. Yeah, you're a fighter, dude. I believe it. Tim, we're now going to go to our low light highlight of the week. What can you tell us about this week's fight and where it comes from?
So, this fight is a pretty great one. And I'm not sure what area it's from geographically wise, but it is a youth hockey game that appears to be going on. And this was actually one that was submitted to us by one of our buddies, Stackhouse. So thank you very much for that. Or Wandering Grappler, or whatever name he's going by these days. But it's a highly entertaining. I'd like to see it sped up and put to Benny Hill music as well, because I think that would be kind of fascinating to watch. But yeah, it's one thing when adults fight, and it's another thing when like old dudes fight. That's kind of funny. And when the ladies fight, it's like, it's okay. I just don't like seeing dudes hit the ladies. But when kids fight, now that's something I can watch, because pretty much no one's going to get really hurt, but it's going to be funny and they're going to try.
Oh boy. All right. I'm going to let you take the first crack at it, Tim, and take us away. Tell us about this fight.
Here we go. We got a little pile up, and then it's like a full-on dog pile up. Now, typically in hockey, it's 1v1, holding shirts and throwing, but this is more of like, let's jump on a guy that's down. The Foot Locker representative here is completely useless. He's just kind of like skating around, just standing there looking at him, not getting involved. This looks like the 8-bit Nintendo hockey game when they would get in a fight and they would just turn into like a giant squabble and you see bodies flying out. Finally, like grandpa referee comes in and goes like, this is enough, kids. We got to break this up. I can't tell. Oh, I guess this guy's going to the pin. Oh, no, he's coming back for more. Hell no. He's coming back for more. Picks up his stick. He's about to slash somebody. Yeah, man. Pretty entertaining fight right there. Like, I kind of think they get better than the adults because when they're done fighting, they're like, okay, you guys ready to play the rest of the game? Versus the adults, you got to take one to jail. The other guy's drunk. Another guy's upset because he got embarrassed in front of his girl. The kids don't have none of that, man. They're just like, you guys want to play Roblox later? Okay, cool.
I feel like him going to get the glove at the end is reminiscent of when you were in kindergarten. They'd be like, all right, guys, grab your toys. You're going to take them back to the cubby now. And he didn't have his toy or his thing to put in there. So he's like, oh, shit, I'm going to go get that. All right, let me walk you through my interpretation of this Disney Presents Ice Fight. All right, so this is like the Mighty Ducks gone wrong. You could see here a good tackle is attempted, and now they're all basically just punching each other, and the ref doesn't really seem to be doing a ton, although that jersey rip, pretty solid. Good grip there on that. The ref is mostly just skating in like Joe Biden tried to make his way throughout a very sharp room. But you can tell everybody else, they don't care if the ref's going to stop them or not. They have a second rip down, by the way. The ref's now at this point being like, all right, kids, you've had your fun. Everybody go get juice. Let's all go back. But I want to point out a couple things here. One, let's initially look at this. This slide in, Tim. Bam. That is a true friend. That's going to be something when that kid's 20 years older is going to be a best friend at a bar when you get into a bar fight. Now, here's what I love. Everybody's piling on, but no real form, except for the kid in the black jersey who's really doing a good job, but then gets toppled because, yikes, he didn't see behind him. And this is where everybody comes in. I want to talk about the goalie. The goalie has an agenda, but then bails. Goalie's like, freak this, I'm out. Everybody else trying to settle their differences. And what I am amazed at is everybody's helmet stayed on. But look over to the right. I want to bring your attention to that. Look at the kid who starts getting ground and pound here. I think is it 24? Yeah, 24 gets about 12 hits uncontested. The jersey rips are my favorite. I do love the fact when the referee just goes like, all right, that's enough out of everybody. You guys are done. But this is the true moment of anger here, Tim. And you as a parent, I'm sure have seen this at some point. This kid is mad that nothing resolved of it and drops the stick on the floor like, damn it. No, I had more to do. And that is your Ice Capade fight of the week. All right, Tim, why don't you tell the people where they can find you so that if they are looking to see more Tim Freeman, they can go check you out.
Check me out at Inside BJJ, all your favorite social media links. Come see me at 10P Nashville. We just had a dude come in from Spain who dropped in to train with us. That was kind of cool. I'm going to be out in Stockton in a couple weeks, November 14th to the 16th. Come see me at 10th Planet Stockton. And I want to give a big shout out to Mike Perez and his fiance, Dina. They just had a beautiful baby girl. Congratulations, you guys. I'm super stoked for you.
Tim, we appreciate that, sir. I'm going to let you get on out of here. I believe you have some Halloween festivities to take care of this evening. I hope all is good for you and your gym, my man.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Raph. Great to see you again. And I want to see a Game 7 just because it's more exciting. So tonight, I hope the Dodgers win.
Fantastic. And I will leave with mute Tim now. That's as good as I want to do. That's it. He has nothing more to say. He said Dodgers win. That's all I care about. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for coming in for this special episode of The Bullpen, which is really just a regular episode. Just a fancier way of saying it. We appreciate you guys for dropping in, saying hello. If you like it, like, comment, and share wherever you are watching this. Become a subscriber if you're watching on the Grappling Hour or at Inside BJJ. For Tim, we got plenty of content coming up, lots of interviews. about to make their way out. For those of you who are fans of the Grappling Hour, a lot of local talent that you really need to find out more about. A lot of gentlemen who we've had the honor of rolling with and getting to chat with afterwards. So check those interviews coming out very shortly. And then that's about it. You're going to see Subversive coming up in about 3 weeks. Your boy's producing that one again. It's going to be the last card of the year. And then the next day, we've got Wild Style, which is our kids program. So get involved, get ready, and hit your boy up if you have any questions on any of those. Ladies and gents, I think that's going to do it for us here at the Bullpen. We thank you for joining us. Once again, my name is RAF ESPARZA. We appreciate you guys. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.